is a day that is honored by nearly all of contemporary Christianity and is used to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The holiday often involves a church service at sunrise, a feast that includes Easter ham, decorated eggs, and stories about rabbits. As most of us know, the best part about Easter is chocolate. Those who love truth learn to ask questions, and many questions must be asked regarding the holiday of Easter. Is it truly the day when Jesus rose from the dead? Where did all the strange customs come from, which have nothing to do with the resurrection of our Savior? This podcast aims to help answer those questions and to help those seeking truth draw their conclusions. We must first understand that professing indwelt Christians were not the only ones to celebrate a festival called Easter. Let's look at facing the facts. The organic origins of Easter reveal some horrific facts that flow directly from ancient paganism. Shortly after the flood, Nimrod reestablished idolatry on the earth. After his death, Nimrod was promoted as a sun god by his mother/wife, remembering that Nimrod was the grandson of the cursed son of Noah, Ham. The curse didn't take long to show its ugly head, that's for certain. Nimrod's widow, Semiramis, was called the Queen of Heaven. Various cultures continued the idolatry of these original pagans until different names began to surface. To the Egyptians, Semiramis was Isis, presently known as the Islamic militant god. To the Babylonians, she was Beltis, counsel to the Babylonian god Bel. To the Canaanites, she was Astarte. The Asians called her Ishtar. Ishtar, which is pronounced Easter, was a day that commemorated the resurrection of one of their gods that they called Tammuz, who was believed to be the only begotten son of the moon goddess and the sun god, but in reality, Tammuz was the illegitimate son of Semiramis by way of adultery. While Semiramis was alive, she demanded that her son/husband dedicate one day out of the year to require all the workers of the Tower of Babel to stop working and worship a statue of herself at the tower's base. According to Babylonian history, Ishtar, Easter, found great delight in being worshipped as the Queen of Heaven, a goddess of sorts. The worship of Ishtar, Easter, as a goddess involved occult fertility practices. These demonic rituals were practiced even by the Israelites when in apostasy. The God of the Hebrews warned and denounced any Israelite involvement in these pagan celebrations were in for some trouble. The God of Israel considered them idolatry and worshiping of God's greatest enemy, Satan. Let's check out Jeremiah chapter 7, verses 17 and 18. Do you not see what they are doing in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead dough to make cakes for the Queen of Heaven. And they poured out drink offerings to other gods in order to spite me. While the Israelites forgot the basics of their history, the women were easily seduced by the idolatry of goddesses. The same madness method Satan used on Eve to get to Adam was the precise method he used to destroy the men of Israel. Now let's look at Ezekiel chapter 8, verses 13 and 14. And he said to me, "Yet you will see still greater abominations which they are committing." Then he brought me to the entrance of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, women were sitting there weeping for Tammuz. Few historians refute that Ishtar or Easter became the most powerful queen of ancient Babylon. Also proclaimed that Baal, Satan, would be present on earth in the form of a flame, whether by candle or lamp, when used in worship, because she set herself up as a goddess for Satan. She is considered in history as the great whore of the Old Testament, later referenced in Revelation's book. Furthermore, she claimed that she was immaculately conceived. Stay with me, it even gets weirder. She taught that the moon was a goddess that went through a 28-day cycle of ovulation when the moon was full. She further claimed that she came down from the moon in a giant moon egg that fell into the Euphrates River, later referenced as an Ishtar Easter egg. Ishtar Easter soon became pregnant, further claiming that the rays of the sun god Baal, Satan, caused her to conceive. Now the weird part. Her son was named Tammuz. The connection to our Easter rabbit: Tammuz was noted to be especially fond of rabbits, and they became sacred in the ancient religion and empire of Babylon. The day came when a wild pig killed Tammuz. Queen Ishtar told the people that Tammuz ascended to his father Baal, Satan, and that the two demanded to be worshipped through this sacred candle or lamp flame as Father, Son, and Spirit. Ishtar, who was now worshipped as the Mother of God and Queen of Heaven, continued to build her mystery religion. The queen told the worshippers that when the wild pig killed Tammuz, some of his blood fell on the stump of an evergreen tree, and the stump grew into a full new tree overnight. This made the evergreen tree sacred by the blood of Tammuz, which later evolved into our modern-day Christmas tree, believe it or not. She also proclaimed 40 days of sorrow each year before the anniversary of the death of Tammuz. This became the sin the Lord addressed with the Israelite women in Ezekiel 8. The details of this idolized event are sickening. During this time, no meat was to be eaten. Worshippers were to meditate upon the sacred mysteries of Baal, Satan, and Tammuz, and make the sign of the T for Tammuz in front of their hearts as they worshiped. They also ate sacred cakes marking a T or a cross on the top. Every year a celebration was made on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. It was Ishtar's Sunday and was celebrated with rabbits and eggs. This teaching also shifted to the holy day of worship, the Sabbath, Saturday to Sunday, a misnomer that permeated all of Christianity in latter days. Folks, that's why we have church service on Sundays. More ironic, Ishtar also proclaimed that a pig must be eaten on that Sunday because a pig killed Tammuz. Out of this demonic ideation, the Lord established a law that Jews were not to eat the flesh of pigs, which remains a respected practice to this day by the Jews. By now, you as a listener should have made the connection that paganism has infiltrated the contemporary Christian churches. However, a fact you might not be aware of: deeper studies indicate that this paganism came by way of the Roman Catholic system. A method to win souls to the Roman state church was adopting the pagan traditions of ancient Babylon, bringing them into the church and revising the demonic practices with Christianized concepts. Today, the Queen of Heaven is the Mother of God, Mary, and Ishtar Easter became the celebration of Jesus' resurrection versus that of Tammuz. Their efforts proved effective. They cemented these traditions in Christianity, Catholicism, and Protestantism. Looking at Easter as nothing to do with Jesus' resurrection, the truth is that Easter has nothing whatsoever to do with the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The date is nowhere close to the actual date of Jesus' resurrection. We also know that Easter is moons away from the organic Jewish Passover, because the pagan holiday is always set as the first Sunday after the full moon, after the spring equinox. This was most likely one of Satan's biggest sleight of hands. Some have wondered why the word Easter is in the King James Bible. It's because Acts chapter 12 tells us that it was the evil King Herod who was planning to celebrate Ishtar, Easter. The Roman state church quickly adopted this holy day as a practice to honor Herod's tradition, but with a demonic bent toward Jesus Christ. The rest is history, as they say. In conclusion, so much more can be said, and we have much history provided for us through the prophets of the Old Testament. However, it isn't easy to stuff 40-plus years of studies regarding paganism into one simple message. We know that the Bible tells us in John 4:24, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in the spirit of truth. Easter is much more than a pagan impostor pretending to be a holy day for Christians. Satan is lurking behind the pretty face of Easter, covering up the greatest fraud of all times. A calendar change that hides the true day of the resurrection and the true seventh-day Sabbath. God's entire timeline of humanity and heavenly hosts is based on Sunday being the first day of the work week. He has mandated to keep the Sabbath holy, Saturday. What did this clever Antichrist do? He made the Sabbath impotent. If anyone knows that God gave humanity 6,000 years, which is 6 days to the Lord, and reserved the Sabbath for his 1,000-year reign, his day of rest, well, that would be Satan. He knows exactly the time plan that God has in place. He just doesn't understand all the details that are packed in it. No wonder Satan wanted to paganize the ordinances of God. As the years passed and the first authentic Christians died, Satan began to corrupt the once pure faith through paganism. Honestly, he did a pretty good job. The church in Rome, greedy and forever power hungry, sought ways to increase her influence. Satan mastered a single madness method that works every time: revisionism. A theological friend once said to me, "He who controls the dictionary controls the masses." Well, sir, no truer words have been said. Most are probably thinking, what now? You can do what most do. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Or you can make a stand. When you identify pagan symbols and beliefs, refuse to acknowledge them. As a pastor, I always preach a message on the authentic history of Ishtar's manipulative plan, and then conduct a Passover service for our congregation, an organic Hebrew messianic celebration of Jesus' resurrection. I am blessed that you joined us today. If you have any questions regarding paganism, don't hesitate to send me an email. Thank you for being with us, and we hope that you take what you've heard today and apply it in the ways that God leads you to do so. Until next time,